but they must have forgot. Ain't finna tell you how I'm coming, won't you sit back and watch? Just for the ones who always talking, tryna play on my talk. I already had that nigga that you rebounding got. I'm from that wreck, I ain't with all of that. The shots I'm calling it.
What do you do, beautiful people? We're back at it again. Spiritual Sirens, my lovely babes. Today we have the amazing, the wonderful Kia Montgomery. Please introduce the lovely people to you.
Hi. Hello, everyone. My name is Kia Montgomery, as she said so sweetly. Hype me up and all. And she's really the amazing Big Joy.
Hey, we're both amazing.
Yes,
We're both amazing. As black women, amazing.
Love
Let's just
it.
go hand in hand.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
I'm new to the channel in general, and I just recently met Faith, and it's been a lovely connection so far. Myself, as my background, I work as an accounting supervisor now. I was an accounting assistant, and in the last week I got promoted to accounting supervisor. So that's my background, and then I actually went to VCU. Did you tell the people that you're in the Richmond area?
I am in the Richmond area. Y'all know this. Come on.
Oh, okay. So I did it in VCU. So now I still live up in the Northern Virginia area.
Right. So how would you say your experience in accounting has been so far?
I've learned a lot.
Right.
It's been a whirlwind. My first real adult job, I was more in payroll, so it was still considering the finance side, but it was more the back end, more paperwork, and not as much with the numbers.
Right.
In my job now, currently, I work more with daily sales, so I'm learning. I knew credits and debits, but like now knowing what they apply for, when certain things are supposed to be debits, when things are supposed to be credits, how to look for charges, how to look for missing money.
Right.
So it's been a lot. It's been a great experience so far, and I still have way more to learn since I've actually only been at my new job for about 7 months. So it's all been a new experience, but so far I'm enjoying it.
Right. And how would you say the transition from college, college work, studying, preparing yourself for your field, and then the transition to the actual corporate world?
I feel like it's one of those moments where like they don't tell you.
That's what they don't be telling you. That's why we're here to tell y'all. You know what I'm saying?
So the transition from college, a lot of my classes were saying like, oh, it's building you up for your future, but it really wasn't building you up for your actual adult world. Like, it wasn't really preparing you for corporate world per se. I did end up taking like a couple of business classes. My degree was, I did mass communications, and my concentration was creative advertising with a general business minor. So I got a glimpse overview of what business was, but not really enough information to be like, oh, now I know how to start my own business. Right. It was more so like, this is just how business works.
A piece of it, but not the whole cookie.
Right.
Just a bite.
Literally. Like you get a little snippet, like a little piece.
Just a bite.
So really that transition out of college into the adult world was kind of me figuring it out. And luckily, I did have people that I could look up to and ask for advice who were already in the corporate world. I had family, I had friends, and connections. So it was like, I had help along the way, but there were still things I had to figure out on like what I wanted to go to in the corporate world. And originally, like I said, I had got my degree in mass communication, so accounting wasn't my go-to. And I originally got out of school, and I had this period of like, now I have to be an adult, and no one really tells you how to be an adult.
You're just like doing it.
Yeah, like now you're 21, 22, or if you go back to school later, you're older, and it's just like, okay, now you have to get a job, and that's what like everyone's told, and so that's what you do. But it's like, what's the best way to get a job? How do I promote myself? How do I know what to put on my resume? And like, you can put everything on a resume, but how to properly put yourself on a resume, like knowing what skill sets to put, and that I kind of had to learn with guidance. And then there was a period where I didn't have a job, but then I'm like, I'm supposed to be an adult, so I feel like I should already have a job. But it's I don't know, it's a learning curve in a sense. And so there was a transition where I didn't have a job, and it was like that summertime, fall. I had just gotten out of school in May, and so going into the fall, it was kind of like, okay, I enjoyed my summer, but now I have to really find a job. And so the job search was hard because I moved back home. So being here in Richmond at first, a lot of things were easily more accessible in walking distance. But living up in Nova, if any of you are familiar with DC, Maryland, Virginia area,
and you're not
really getting around without a car or some type of transportation or
you
the
gonna
metro.
walk on 95?
Not me.
You gonna walk on that beltway?
Ain't no way. So that trying to find jobs is more like now I have to drive to a job, kind of figure out what I'm willing to commute to, what kind of job I wanted, and considering it was going to be my first corporate job,
Right.
I didn't know necessarily all of the things to expect.
Right.
Whether it was how they were going to tell you you're going to get paid,
Right.
how to kind of promote, or not necessarily promote yourself to get a promotion, but
Right.
how to place yourself at a high value so that you don't get
Right.
underpaid in your first
Right.
job. You didn't know that.
Right.
So it's like little things I had to learn, and I'm still learning, even though like this is only my second job in the corporate world.
Right.
So I know there's probably people with way more experience than that and know the ins and outs of the corporate world, and I'm still learning for myself. And yes, I do like to take advice from other people, but
Right.
it's still something that you just have to experience.
For sure.
So that transition has been different.
Right.
It's been a good one, but essentially I went from not having a job, trying to figure out how to put together a proper resume,
Right.
looking for jobs in all different areas, figuring out what I was willing to commute and what I didn't want to commute,
Right.
and then finding a job that would work for me. And I didn't find a job at a company per se, but I ended up going through a temp agency where
Right.
they help you find a job.
Right.
And I did that for a little bit, and the company that I had got put into ended up hiring me on full time. So
Okay.
that's kind of how I got
blessing.
into
For sure.
how I got into the accounting finance field, because they were asking for an accounting assistant, and I was like, I don't know too much about math. And they were more like administrative and accounting assistant, so you're dealing more with the HR and finance department, but I
Right.
wouldn't have been dealing with all the money. So I was
Right.
like, oh, okay, like I can do this, I can learn.
Right.
So now this transition into like more of the accounting field has been like, oh, this is different. And it's still not the same like financial, I know you talked about financial literacy before we started talking about this, or talking about the podcast, and I didn't really learn financial literacy in either of my jobs per se, but that was more of something I had to experience outside of them.
Right. So with that being said, in hindsight, what would you say to college students that are in college right now working towards their profession? What would you say the things that they should mentally prepare for and be, looking towards themselves? Because, all the time college might prepare you with the information for your profession, but not prepare you with the experience.
Right.
So in hindsight, what would you say to the college students out there, busting their tail, trying to really just focus on, you know what I'm saying, focus on making it? What would you say that they should look towards right now, while they're also looking towards the things that they need to for their profession, to start preparing themselves for the real world that we aren't really prepared for?
Right. My advice would be to talk to people that have what you want in life, and do that as soon as possible. Like even in college, if you know some people know exactly what they want to go to school for, and if you know that, find people that are already in that field.
Connections.
Always, always, because you in your head you have this idea of how you think a certain field might go,
Right.
or what you want it to look like, or what you want to do in that field. But until you talk to someone that's in that field, or you're around someone, you don't really know. So talk to those people as much as you can and get around them. If that's what you want to do, if you want to be a nurse, by all means, seek out any medical people that you can and get in their back pocket. If you don't know what you're going to school for, but you know you want to get an education, by all means, take up all the resources that your school has to offer.
Right.
Any of them. Any people, if you have guidance counselors, if you have...
Networking events.
Yes.
Look for them.
Yes. Find ways to make sure that you're not wrapped up in your own head about how you think your life should go. Definitely look to people that are where you want to be in life. And ask for their advice, ask for their help. And I'm not saying you have to take it, by all means.
Take what's for you, and
but,
leave the rest for someone else.
Yes. Like a grocery store. Take what you
Right.
need, leave what you don't.
Right.
But I would say that would be the best thing to look for. Look for people that you know you want to be in life where they are. And outside of that, I would say give yourself grace.
Right.
Because we get thrown into college, or we go to college and we're supposed to be these adults now, but we're still not adults yet, and it's okay. And I feel like you have to give yourself grace as you're learning to do stuff, learning to get a schedule together, learning how to get finances together, just learning how to become that adult, or put yourself in that position to be the person you want to be. So I would say, I would think that would be the best thing, to look for people that are where you want to be and give yourself grace along the way.
And don't, please, y'all, stop listening to the same folks that you hang around every single day. They're in the same position that y'all in. And I said that in the last episode. I'm gonna keep saying it. With love and with grace. Because come on now. You know what I'm saying? That's why I really, really love the idea of a podcast and having people on that have that experience, because a lot of times it's scary to go out there and look for it yourself, and I completely get that. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard also trying to learn yourself in the process.
Yeah.
So you're trying to learn from someone else and you don't even know yourself and what you truly want, or what you truly, or how you best comprehend information even given to you.
Right.
So you're over here asking for information, then you're not able to receive it properly because why? You don't know how you receive. You know what I'm saying? So instead of finding a way to find a middle ground, we end up looking for the results of other people when that's not necessarily the results of yourself.
Right.
Because everybody has different results, maybe similar paths, but your results are unique and tailored to you and your life.
Yeah, that's your story.
It's your story, so learn to love your story. You know what I'm saying? Learn to love yourself and your story, because you can't be searching for things outside of yourself all the time when you don't even know who you are, because then you're just constantly in a state of confusion. And with that being said, how would you say, I'm gonna say before college and after college, what was the journey of really learning yourself and, you know, what you want and how you wanted to, or how you thought at the time, pre-college and post, where your life was heading, or where you wanted your life to head?
So before college, it was kind of just the thing. Like, I knew when I got out of high school, you go to college, you get more education, so that you are better equipped for the corporate world, or like an adult life, or just anything after, from that gap of being like 18 to 20 something, is you have to figure that out. Like, there's other steps after high school, and all I really knew at the time was you go to college. And I was the first generation in my family to complete college, so for me it was like, this is a first, so I'm not fully sure, but I knew college was next. And I wanted to be in art, and I like still have a passion for being creative, but I didn't necessarily know, like, my junior or senior year, like what position or what field or specifically I wanted to go to in like that creative field. Like, I knew I wanted to be there, but I couldn't say like, yes, I want to be in this title, I want to be in this position. And so it was a little challenging, because like I was reaching my senior year and I was like,
Well, to touch on that just real quick, don't mean to interrupt, but would you say you weren't necessarily looking at that as what you wanted, but maybe the results that they received through that is something that you wanted? Because I know a lot of people, like I was touching on earlier, can be looking at the results instead of the actual process. And you get in the actual process and it's like, I don't want this.
It was more like people, it was like, that was the thing, like in order to get a better paying job or better things, it was like you at least, you know, want a college degree. Of course. So that's what I went for. So before getting to school, pre-college, it was kind of like, I know this is what's going to help me in the future, but it also wasn't a guarantee. So I went in thinking like, I guess at least I was taught that, like, you know, a lot of people go to school, and then after you go through high school, you go to college, and then you want to go and get into a corporate position or just any type of job field. And without a degree, it seems like you wouldn't get as paid as much if you didn't. But it's also like, even if you go through college, there is no certain guarantee that you're going to get a job in what you think you are, or get a job in that field that you were studying all the time. That's what you expect, and that's what you want, and that's what a lot of people go into school thinking, but it's not. There is no guarantee. You only get guaranteed that you're going to get this degree at the end of those 4 or 5 years.
And everything that comes with it. But also, like, experience. How much does that factor in that whole play?
Experience?
As far as, like, qualifications and requirements.
Oh, okay, when getting a job?
Yeah.
So, that part is a little different, because I feel like on resume, they might say, or like as a job description, they might say they want 4 or 5 years of experience in a said thing.
Right.
But that's not a guarantee.
Right.
Some of them are optional, some of them they look like it. So it's like, of course, you want to put yourself in a position, and sometimes even applying for stuff that you don't feel like you fit for completely.
Right.
Like maybe you don't feel like you have all the qualifications,
Right.
but you still apply because these jobs put together what they want in a candidate,
Right.
but not all people have every single thing they ask for.
Right.
But if you can present yourself and say like, hey, I might not have all of 5 years of experience in customer service, but I at least have 3.
Right.
Like, you kind of have to, you know, tailor what works, what you have done so far, and put it and present it in like a nice little package. So I would say my experience with school and transitioning is like learning how to best promote yourself,
Right.
and be the best version of yourself through things.
Right.
So you learn how to say like, okay, I might not have all the experience, but I do know this, or I do have this skill set, or I
Right.
feel like I can apply this skill set over maybe having a year in experience in accounting or in maybe creative writing. Like you can apply other things, but you have to know to promote yourself. Like
Right.
really promote yourself. Even though people think they don't sell themselves, everyone sells themselves. You know, like
It's corporate America.
yeah, you have to.
Right.
So my experience in college from having to learn how to do that, like how to learn how to promote myself, has been, how do I say, a learning process. But it's also been good. Like I've learned how to better communicate,
Right.
how to talk to more people,
Right.
how to ask questions,
Right.
how to know what to put on a resume, how to
Right.
know what to look for in jobs as well, because they might put all these experiences, or maybe they want you to have a certificate or
Right.
certain things, and usually 9 times out of 10, if you can talk to someone like, okay, if you're applying on Indeed, I know that's kind of like a wing it thing, like they have
Right.
all these pre-made questions or
Right.
resumes, or not necessarily resumes, but they have these a list of
Yeah.
qualifications that they want you to have. But even if you apply, that you still might get accepted. So it's all about still applying, even if you don't feel like you match everything. And then if you do get an interview, you can touch on things that you feel really strongly about, or feel like your qualities are the best on.
Right.
So yeah, they might have wanted this, that, and the third, but like this is what you bring to the table.
Right.
And I kind of had to learn that in and out of college. I
Right.
had to learn that in college when it came to my classes that I was taking, and
Right.
like having to give presentations, and
Right.
like having to grow myself in that way, and knowing how to present myself literally.
Definitely.
And then kind of towards the outside of like after college and
Right.
graduating, when I was like, okay, now I have this degree,
Right.
how do I even still promote this degree, or promote that I might have not been getting the job in the degree that I
Right.
got, but I still have this skill set that I gained from getting this degree.
Right.
So I guess, how would I put this? Getting the degree doesn't mean that you automatically get that position.
Right.
But if you have the degree, you can at least say you've gained certain skill sets to
Right.
apply to the position.
Like being consistent, showing
Right.
up every day, showing up on time.
Being committed.
Right. And the reason why I asked that is because I really believe that there's a common misconception that, especially with a lot of people, because it's hard to hear so many no's, especially straight off
Oh my gosh,
working
yeah.
for so long and so hard. But I feel like a lot of times people can get discouraged and not understand that it's so much more than what you learned, but also how you present yourself.
Yeah,
lot
that's
of
a
people-
big part of it, honestly.
Right. That it's so like, I mean, it's sad that a lot of people don't not understand, but it's more so we get so focused on what we need to know to get to this position that we forget how to value ourselves.
Yeah.
And people can recognize when you don't value yourself, and that's how that you get taken advantage of.
Very
and that's
easily.
why a lot of people end up getting those no's, because you're not presenting yourself in a manner that makes them believe that
Yeah.
you're qualified.
You have to present yourself with the value you have, and
Exactly.
you do have value.
You have to know
Everyone
that
has value.
you are qualified so that they can know that you're qualified.
Yeah.
So don't get discouraged, but instead study the people. Like you said earlier, study those people. Study how they, not only what they've done, but how they carry themselves, how they
Yeah.
look. You know what I'm saying? Who they talk to, how they talk to those people. You know what I'm saying? These are common skills you can learn at home. look, I practice most of these skills right here. How I present myself, how I speak to people, how I converse. It's all little things that we don't really think of day to day when we're so focused on our goals.
Right.
But those little details, they matter.
And they string together. And
right.
It's okay to get discouraged, but you don't have to stay discouraged.
Of
like
course.
It happens.
Right.
It's never the best feeling to constantly hear no or
Obviously.
be rejected after getting out of school, or even if you didn't fully go to school and you're like in a trade school, or even if you didn't go to school, just applying for jobs, just trying to make yourself into a better version of yourself, and you feel like you're doing all these things, you're applying to a job here, you're applying to a job here, you're going here, and it's like no after no, like it's going to happen, but it's also going to build you up, because like now when you've gotten a yes at some job, you kind of know like, okay, I was able to take all these no's, so I know exactly what I'm looking for now. Like I might have gotten rejected at a job that I really wanted, but that means there was another opportunity or a better job coming. So you really, like, it's okay to let it happen.
Right.
Go through the emotions, feel it. It's not the best,
Right.
but don't stay discouraged as you continue to go on, whether it's school,
Right.
whether it's a job, whether it's after people that are where you want to be. Like everything's not going to go as it's supposed to, or what you feel like it should, or
Right.
like as your plan.
Right.
But it's all not for nothing.
Right.
So you always have to remember, like, yes, I might have got a no yesterday, and I might have got a no 2 weeks ago, but a yes or the job is coming.
It is.
The people that I want to be around, it's coming. So yeah, just again back to the give yourself grace
Right.
in the process of getting no's and even getting yeses. And even if you get a yes and it's not fully what you wanted, always be willing to take an experience.
Right.
Because like you never know what you can gain from doing something.
Yeah, don't focus so much on the money, y'all. You have to understand that.
Hey, beautiful sirens. I just want to pop in and let y'all know your girl is back and better than ever. Please tap in. We have new price flyers, new styles per usual, wash, blow dry, and hair included. Please tap in with Soul Child Styles on Instagram.
Back at it when you when you get so focused on the money, because that's what, you know, it's hard working in the economy that we work in and not focusing on money when everything looks so money based.
It does.
But it's like, what's the point of you worrying about money that you don't have? What you gonna do, cry about money that you don't have?
That is true.
You have to focus on how to get to where you want to be, because when you're focused on where you want to go, the money will have to come.
It will.
You think these people would be at the positions that they're at if the money wasn't coming? You think they would continue to go through all the stuff that they went through if the money wasn't coming?
I've known people. Some people have literally, like I said before, when I was trying to find out like about the corporate world, and like I had family friends who helped me with and like guided me also. Some of them did take pay cuts on jobs just to get certain experiences. So it's not always about like it's really not all about the money all the time. And it's just like you kind of have to know yourself and know what you're okay with. Now, I'm not saying no one deserves to be overworked in anything. Whether you have like your own business, you're working for someone, you're partnering with someone, like, you know, you should always feel like you're working together, working towards something, you know, not being overworked or like not outside of overworked, but just like you're putting on all this effort and it's not necessarily being rewarded, which sometimes it might not be. And that's okay, but like also know that certain things are worth it.
Right.
And like I said, with the experiences, like I know people that took pay cuts because they wanted the experience and to learn how to do whatever that position was.
Right.
So it happens.
Right. And I think another thing with that is find things outside of what you are working towards. You have to have multiple goals. You can't get stuck with one goal, because if you have just that one goal and you just keep hearing no and no and no, you're gonna want to just stop. But if you have multiple goals, multiple facets that you're trying to excel in, then it's like, okay, here's a no, but I can learn the lesson from that no.
Right. And apply it somewhere else.
Apply it somewhere else. Alchemize that energy instead of getting stuck in it. What's the point of getting stuck in a situation that you're not seeing growth from? And that's not to say give up. That's to say learn and find a better way to go about it. not only in that, but apply it in everything that you do in life, because that no might happen for a reason. That no might have been specifically for you to learn that lesson to excel even greater in something else. So it's good to have not necessarily just hobbies, but other things that you're interested in. Don't put yourself in a box, because when you're put in a box, you feel trapped. And a lot of times it's of our own becoming, because we get so focused on what we think we're supposed to be doing because of what we see everybody else doing.
Or we thought like what we had as a plan, and the plan isn't going as it should. But it's okay.
Plans are useless in this world. Not useless, but like at the end of the day, there's something.
It's good to have a plan.
It's
but
good to have a plan.
It's not going to go exactly how you planned it. Literally, not to the T.
If you really have faith that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you know what I'm saying? Regardless of whatever, then your story's already written. Yeah. You're just choosing the different pathways to go about it. So just understanding it from that perspective makes it a lot easier to actually keep being persistent and being consistent. Because if you're not consistent, then you're not doing it every day to keep reminding you why you're doing it. And
that's when you can fall into that discouragement moment and you can stay there.
Exactly. And that's why we just have to keep going. You have to keep in your mindset. If this isn't working, boom. What else can I be working on? Even if it's not in the same area, what else can I be working on to continue to develop myself and to continue to develop my skills? Because that's what this whole world is about. You know what I'm saying? Look at little Ella over here. Skip aside.
To be in the podcast.
She wants to be in the podcast. You know, she's a star guest or whatever.
She can't talk too much, but she could just look you.
Yeah. Lick you and cuddle. Feed patootie. But yeah, y'all, like, your skill set is so important.
Yeah.
So important. You can have all the education in the world.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to apply that, and you don't learn the confidence, because that's what confidence really is. Learning how to take action in the things that you are passionate about. If you don't have the confidence and the skill set, everything else starts to dwindle in its value in your head.
Right.
Not necessarily
Not
that's
like
how
it actually did, though.
You know what I'm saying? Not that it actually did, but that's how you're seeing it, and people don't really understand the value of your own perception. Right. If you're looking at something from a certain way, who else is going to change your mind but yourself? So you have to not only like stop trying to look through one like window, expand your view. And the only way to do that is expanding
your association. Expanding who you're talking to. Like you were saying earlier, talk to the people that you want that are already in positions that you want to be at. Stop getting stuck around the same groups. Not like it's bad to have, you know, your friend groups, the people you grew up with, whatever. No, but expand yourself. Why not talk to more people? What's holding you back besides yourself? And that's that confidence piece. You have to have the confidence to believe I can't just be comfortable with the group that I'm with now because you know they feel safe. What is it that makes you feel unsafe about talking to new people? Understanding new experiences. Be willing to take the risk.
Be willing to take the risk, because all that is fear. And at the end of the day, if you allow your fear to stop you, that is completely up to you. No one can take that fear from your heart besides you, because it's your perception is what's driving that fear. Change your perception and you change your life. But speaking of association, you know, tell the people a little bit about our leadership conference that we just literally got back from today, and the value that you really found in it.
So much. And honestly, that's where I've also, like, outside of college, that's where I gained a lot more perspective on people and how to present myself and how to grow myself. So when you were talking about that pre-college, I was going off of the family and friends I had around me and the friend groups I had at the time, and like just knowing like that's what you're supposed to do. Post-college, I was able to get around leadership and go to conferences where I get to see people that are in life where I want to be. And so I place high value on that, because in college it was kind of like you're just trying to figure out your day-to-day, your schedule, your everything. I think, at least for me, it felt like that. Like I was figuring out how to time manage, how to financially manage the money that I did have, how to stay accountable to myself, how to stay accountable to the classes that I sound like the classes I signed up for. Classes that I signed up for, how to stay accountable to other people when I had group projects. Like I had to kind of learn all this stuff. And then outside of college, it was kind of like, now what? And so being in this association and getting to be around people that are where I want to be in life, being able to add value to me and I can add value to the environment, knowing like the experiences that I come from and knowing that we're all people that want to strive for better. At the end of the day, we all just want to be better versions of ourselves. And I place so much value on that because that's not always in the corporate world per se.
Right.
A lot of the corporate world is more like, not that you have to fend for yourself. There are a lot of team aspects in the corporate world, but there are certain positions where it's kind of like you are someone else.
Right.
And in the conference that we just got back from, you can see that it's not you against anyone else but yourself.
Right.
So the value is.
And not only that, but like that sense of community is just something that we lack so much, that I'm still brand new and I just feel so enveloped in love and understanding. It's like I'm someone that I was telling you over this weekend, while we're getting to know each other more, because we're new friends.
Yeah.
But I've been in survival mode pretty much almost all my life up until last year. So really coming from a place of feeling like I had to do everything by myself, to now transitioning to an environment where I feel not only loved and supported, but I'm around people that understand that there's so much more to life than what we think.
Yeah.
So much more to life than money, so much more to life than your career. Like all that stuff is important, don't get me wrong, they all tie in together. But time is something that we take for value so much. And that being with a community, being around a genuine community, really gives you that space to understand the value in time and spending it with people that you love.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That value you.
And you value.
And you learn how to value yourself even more because you value everything else around you so much more. You have a different understanding of gratitude.
Yeah.
And gratitude is the base of all blessings, because if you're not grateful for what you have, how can you expect to be blessed for more? Exactly. So it's like, just learn how to go outside yourself. Challenge yourself this week. Talk to someone new. Talk to me. Y'all see me. Y'all know me. If y'all
talk to her.
Talk to me. Y'all, if y'all interested in really being in the community where you feel like you can strive around people that want you to strive and are also striving for themselves, and it's healthy competition, not the weirdo friends we keep around us that we're comfortable with that I had to cut off. But anyways,
that's why we make new friends.
That's why we make new friends. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, don't be afraid to make new friends, make new connections, be a new person, because it's not like you have to completely change yourself. But evolution is so important. Evolution of character. It's growing yourself. It's just growth in all facets. Why not grow? You know what I'm saying? So this week, let's focus on growing, y'all. Alright, thank you so much for being on this episode. I was so grateful for having you.
Of course, it was a pleasure.
Of course, and I'm so excited for this journey. Tune in next week.